In this video, I'm going to talk about the best Valentine's Day fragrances for men. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. These fragrances are also just some of the biggest compliment getters, so I just think it's perfect for the season so that you can smell good for your special someone. For those of you who are new here, my name is Ashley. I work as an apprentice perfumer for a major fragrance company in Paris. And I like to do a lot of top videos, review videos, but also kind of diving into the secrets behind your fragrances and how they work. So if that's the kind of content that you're interested in, consider subscribing to the channel. So, Valentine's Day fragrances. These fragrances are seductive, they're compliment getting, but they're also just so appropriate for the holiday. My list here has a lot of rosy fragrances to kind of harken back to romance, and then we also have some spicy fragrances to spice things up a bit, and all of these are some of my absolute favorite fragrances for men. I am so obsessed with these. So the first fragrance that I'm going to be talking about is Eau Capitale by Diptyque. This is really a classic Chypre fragrance, and so for those of you who aren't familiar with Chypre, it's a fragrance category that's been around for over 100 years. Traditionally, a Chypre is a bergamot placed with an oak moss. When they're paired together, they really have a great harmony, and these two notes together tend to have really good projection and longevity. There's just some kind of magic in the alchemy of this pairing. But nowadays, we can't really use oak moss the way that we used to. Unfortunately, oak moss has I believe it's either a carcinogen or an endocrine disruptor in the original oil. Through the magic of chemistry, they've been able to remove the individual chemical that does this. So we still can use real oak moss in perfumery, thankfully, but just not at the quantities that we used to, even though we've removed this component to the material. A lot of times now, instead, we found we can kind of get a similar magic when we pair bergamot with patchouli, and that's what we have here in Eau Capitale. So we have pink pepper, we have bergamot, we have a luscious, beautiful rose, and then all of this on a base of patchouli. And I find there's something about this mix that you can for sure pick out the rose and the patchouli and everything, but it's only if, you know, you're a fragrance enthusiast or you kind of have a trained nose. The blending here is fantastic. This is such a well blended fragrance, and so it really just gives you this great aura of scent where you just smell so good. And this is just such an intoxicating fragrance, and I love the idea of kind of like smelling on theme and smelling like this dark, mysterious rose on Valentine's Day. The next fragrance on my list is just one of my all-time cold weather fragrances, and that is Musc Ravageur by Malle. This fragrance has notes of cinnamon, clove, vanilla, lavender, and a touch of musk, and you really smell all that. It's beautifully blended. The spices here are so addictive. They're so interesting. They really have the right amount of like piquantness, like that extra spice, that extra energy. I love that about this fragrance, but because you have those vanillas and those musks, it keeps it from being harsh or acrid or sharp. Absolutely not. You have this interesting vibrancy, and then it's all rounded out with the vanilla. You have amazing projection and longevity from this fragrance. You have lavender in there, which is bringing this masculinity, which I think also makes it really nice for a Valentine's Day fragrance, and it's going to last with you all night. And it's also very elegant and refined. It's Malle, which is, you know, one of, I think, the more elegant niche houses out there. The blends are all done by master perfumers, so they're really well constructed and thought out fragrances, and it's one of my all-time favorite kind of like spicy, warm vanilla fragrances. Up next, we have another fragrance that is super well loved in the fragrance community, and that is Layton by Parfums de Marly. And this fragrance, whenever I read the note list, it sounds like something that has everything. Just like a synopsis isn't even everything listed. We have apple and lavender and cardamom and sandalwood and vanilla, and there's just a lot going on here. And I think when you smell it, it's again hard to pick out all the individual things listed, but it's really just this warm, slightly spicy, slightly floral from the geranium and the lavender, ambery fragrance. So if you like warm fragrances, this one is amazing. Also super refined and elegant and addictive. Layton is absolutely an addictive fragrance. Personally, I prefer the Eau de Parfum. I find the extrait to be very nice as well. It's a bit woodier, and I just feel like I can pick out more of the nuances in the EDP, but I think they're both very similar and both great fragrances. It's really just up to personal preference. Some people prefer the extrait, some people prefer the EDP. I really wouldn't say one is hugely better than another. They're both amazing. It's just my personal preference is the EDP. I feel like I get more of the playfulness with the apple and the geranium and the other notes, and there's just kind of more movement in this fragrance to me. It's a linear fragrance for sure in both concentrations, but I just feel like there's a little bit more diversity in the notes in the EDP as opposed to the extrait, and that's what makes me love this fragrance. Again, this is a fragrance that is loved by so many people, and it's such a big compliment getter because of its likability factor. At the same time, it's a niche fragrance, so you're definitely not going to smell like everybody else, and it's a great one to check out if somehow you haven't yet. At number 2 on my list, we have Spicebomb Eau de Toilette, which is my personal favorite version of Spicebomb just because you get more of the spices. So here you have cinnamon, pink pepper, paprika, saffron, on a base of tobacco and leather. So again, this is another really warm, spicy fragrance. You can kind of notice a theme here. I just feel like this is such a great fragrance category for Valentine's Day. You know, you're gonna have some roses on this list with your Eau Capitale, and then again, a lot of these like spicy scents, warm, ambery. I just think it fits the holiday, if you can call Valentine's Day a holiday, absolutely perfectly. And so with Spicebomb, I do like the Eau de Toilette version just because you get more of the spices. If you want more of something focusing on the vanilla and tobacco, then definitely go for Spicebomb Extreme. But I really love the spices, the saffron, the paprika, pairing with the cinnamon in the Eau de Toilette. Both versions have really great longevity and projection, so you don't have to worry about that there. It's really just what variation on the profile. Again, it's not like, I think there's more of a difference between Spicebomb Eau de Toilette and the Extreme than Layton, Extrait, and EDP. But at the same time, again, they're both amazing fragrances. I really love the Spicebomb range, and they're really well priced as well compared to some of the more expensive niche fragrances on this list, and it's truly a designer masterpiece. And my number 1 pick for this Valentine's Day is Ombre Leather by Tom Ford. This fragrance is amazing. I feel like it really blows me away every time I smell it, and I think that's always a good reaction to have on Valentine's Day. It is a very straightforward leather fragrance, and I also just think leather is one of the sexiest fragrance notes of all time. And then here it's paired with amber, moss, and patchouli. I find that the amber is kind of a dry amber. This is not a super sweet fragrance. It's a fragrance that has a lot of confidence, a bit of ruggedness, and a lot of sexiness, but that leather is so smooth. It really smooths out the amber. The patchouli, I love patchouli. It gives it not an edibleness, but just kind of that rugged earthiness. Again, that just contrasts with that smooth leather so well. The projection and longevity is amazing on this fragrance. And I just really love the masculinity of this fragrance. It's so kind of intoxicating. It's one of those things that makes you swoon, which is kind of rare with a fragrance, but Ombre Leather absolutely has that quality to it. Let me know if you're going to be wearing one of these fragrances on Valentine's Day, and if not, let me know what your Valentine's Day fragrance is or what your romance fragrance is if you're not into the Valentine's Day holiday. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're not a subscriber, please consider, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for watching my videos. I appreciate you all so much, and I hope you all have a happy Valentine's Day. Bye, everyone.